is I would publicly, and this could backfire, of course, but I would give him a real offer because whether you like Kirk or not, Derek Carr, if you want to say he's better, sure, not going to argue. But it's not like he's stratospheres better. They're sort of in the same realm.
Right.
The market has been set to get a top 10-ish quarterback who puts up the kind of numbers that these guys put up. It's going to be $24, $25 million a year, whatever. Put out the offer, publicly say, this is the offer. It's not $20 million. We didn't lowball him by $5 million. We offered him $20 million a year, whatever. We're giving him 3 years guaranteed at 65, whatever. It's all outrageous, but the numbers are outrageous. It is what it is. And put it out there and put the onus on Kirk. Shame him into turning that down. What's wrong with doing it?
Well, I guess the reason why, okay, you have to, yeah, like you said, they can't just throw those numbers out there. They have to make a real offer.
Not real.
We never received that offer. But also, if you go out there and you finally do, after dragging your feet all this time and lowballing him last year, lowballing him again, in February when the last time they issued a real offer was, and then finally say, okay, fine, we're going to give you $25 million with $80 million guaranteed, $50 million, guaranteed at signing. We want you to be our quarterback. Say Kirk turns that down. How bad does that make the Redskins look that they just gave him an offer to make him the highest paid quarterback, topping Derek Carr's numbers, and he still didn't want to be there? Then that really says something bad about your organization, that you did that much damage. You finally got a quarterback. You messed up the situation so bad that he didn't even want to be the highest paid quarterback ever with your organization. He was content to take a one-year franchise player deal again and then hit free agency next year.
All that you say is valid, and I can't argue that, but I could easily also argue the other side that it makes Kirk look just as bad, too. It makes Kirk look petty. I think the fans would turn on him. I really do. Now,
well, I think it would, just like you said, and we've been saying, it's not just right now. Like, we've been saying for a while, like, it's not just money. Kirk, and the people that Kirk feels comfortable with, one's in San Francisco, one's in L.A., one's retired in Denver.
Well, you know what? Grow up. Grow up, Kirk. That's what I'd say.
But what if you have somebody that you're working for who has a history of running through head coaches, never letting anybody foresee, out their contract, can't keep a manager in. They wanted to keep going with in the third, even though he was stinking up the joint, and they fired one coach over that and everything. Do you really, if that's what it is, and now all of a sudden when they're desperate, they're saying, do you really want to be a part of that? Because your head coach that you like could be gone. They could bring in a system that you don't like. They could, backfire, and, the players around you that, a new GM could come in and wipe those guys out. Why do you want to tie yourself long-term to something that's so unstable for the last, 25 years?
For $80 million guaranteed, or whatever the number may be. That's why. Money cures all
but he can get that next year somewhere.
He may not, though. See, Charlie makes a great point, and I'll let Cakes jump in. He's got his arm raised, and I'm interrupting.
It's okay.
But Charlie makes a great point. So there are 5 or 6 teams, or however many, right? Everybody needs a good quarterback, and there are teams out there that currently would pay him, right? But if they could, the draft class allegedly, and they always say this, could bomb out. Allegedly a decent quarterback class next year. They could, Charlie said it on this show, he said it on CSN. They could decide, you know what, instead of paying him $25 million a year, I'll just give a rookie first rounder $5 million a year and roll the dice with that, right? And the could disappear. It may not be what he thinks it is, right? So there is a gamble.
There's a gamble, but Kirk Cousins is a guy who went into his senior high school season without a scholarship offer, was prepared to walk on somewhere. He went into year before last with no long-term deal, played on the franchise tag, set franchise numbers, played on the franchise tag again, gambling on himself, threw for 5,000 yards just about. He's a guy that's like, look, I'm not desperate. I've got $24 million and $20 million guaranteed in the bank. I can take my time because my family's going to be taken care of. Even if he plays poorly, he could still go somewhere, and bounce back there, and it's a situation where he's comfortable with. He's not going to just sell out for the money. He's going to make sure that, his family feels comfortable, he feels comfortable, and it's a stable situation, and they really, really want him. They're not just wanting him right now because they're going to look bad or look stupid for letting him go. They really want to build around him.
Mike, do you think if you got Bruce and Dan in an office, just the two of them together with no recording devices anywhere, and they were just honest with each other, would they look at each other and say, we've botched this negotiation at every turn? Or are they so delusional that they feel like they've approached it the right way? What do you think would happen?
From everything that I have been told about Bruce Allen, I don't think he ever admits wrong.
Not self-aware.
So I'm sure that they're like, well, we did what we had to do. We had to be sure that he was going to be good, and, we had to protect the franchise, and that's why we did that. And now we've given him a generous offer, and it's his problem that he doesn't want to take it. They always blame somebody else. So, maybe in their own beds as they lay next to their wives at night, stressing, maybe they'd admit it to them, but I don't think that either one of those guys would let that come out of their mouth that they messed up the situation, even though everybody and their sister knows that they did.